Well, hey guys, Tyler here, and thanks for watching this job video. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a time lapse of a small bathroom patch that I did not too long ago. As you can see, I laid down some drop cloth. Whenever I go into a customer's home, especially where it's just a small job or patch repair, I try to keep everything as clean as possible, having a shop vac, laying down some drop cloth, so that way, hopefully when I'm done, you can't tell that I was even there. Anyways, as you can see in the ceiling, there's a hole. This homeowner had a plumbing issue, and so in order for the plumber to fix what was going on, they had to cut this hole in the ceiling. Now, a majority of the work that I do is patch repair, and so something like this I'm quite used to, and so I know what I can do with this. I know sometimes homeowners might think that you might have to cut the whole ceiling out, or it turns into this bigger project than what it really needs to be. This is a plaster ceiling, and so I didn't want to have to deal with cutting any more of the plaster that I needed to, and so I just kind of cleaned up the edges. But really all I had to do was I just went through and I screwed off the plaster on the studs or the ceiling joists or whatever it's called. And then when I go through and I take some pieces of wood, because I'm going to give myself some extra screw points for the piece that I'm going to put up, so that way it's nice and firm and it's not going to move at all. Now, when I came to measure this job, the one thing I wanted to check was the thickness of the plaster, because plaster can vary in thickness, and so I wanted to see if I could get away with 1/2 inch, if I needed 5/8, or if I maybe even needed to get some 1/4 inch drywall to match the thickness of the ceiling. Thankfully, 5/8 ended up working out just fine. Now, for me, I wanted to piece in the piece like this, like I said, because I'm used to doing patchwork like this, and sometimes that's what you just got to do. And because it's 5/8, this drywall, 5/8 is really thick and sturdy, so I knew that with me really cutting on it, that it wasn't going to snap or break on me. Unlike 1/2 inch, which can be a little bit more flexible, so sometimes when you're trying to cut an intricate piece like this, you can get right to your last cut and then it breaks on you, and then you got to start all over again. So here you can see I'm using my artistic skills to kind of sketch out a rough idea what it's going to look like, and there I am showing you my work of art that is soon to be cut. So I'm going to work on cutting that, and then once I get that cut, I'm going to put that up there and start making some marks with pencil just to see where I need to fine tune my cut to get it up there. Again, because I've screwed off the ceiling, and then I've given myself plenty of spots to screw off the drywall that I'm putting up, there's going to be no issues with this cracking out. And as long as everything is up there nice and secure and there's no big gaping holes, you're going to be totally fine, because that's what drywall mud's for, is to cover up something underneath that doesn't look good. There's a lot of jobs that I do where underneath the kind of what you're covering up doesn't look good because you had to patch in some stuff, or it's just kind of a rough wall. Maybe someone had a bunch of wallpaper on the wall that you're going over because you're getting it prepped for paint. But if you do a good mudding job, it gets it all good and looking good. So as you can see, I put my 2 pieces of 5/8 up there. It's all nice and secure. And now there's a couple holes that I want to fill in, because I don't want that to result in some future issues with the drywall mud starting to crack out in the ceiling. So I'm taking some 5-minute that I've mixed in my pan, and I'm filling in all those holes to get them nice and smooth, and making sure that there's no big gaping holes, like I said. Big thing you want to do with this is making sure it's nice and flat, so that way when you do start to go put on your normal coats of mud to get closer to that finished project, it's not giving you an uneven coat and sticking through. Because of where this hole was on the ceiling, I did have to hit a spot on the side of the wall as well, so I was getting that nice and smooth. Now once I get done with the 5-minute, what I'm going to start doing is I'm actually going to put on some 20-minute mud. This job is small enough where I could get away with using some faster drying Durabond or mud and then get ready to put my second coat of mud on, which is really nice that they have the faster drying mud, because it allows for smaller jobs like this to get done, at least in terms of mudding, in one day. And actually I've done a couple jobs where I was able to get all the mudding done and the sanding done because I was able to use this faster drying mud. Okay, so here you can see I'm putting on the mesh tape because I'm trying to get everything mudded in one day. I want to give the mud, this mesh tape allows the mud to dry, unlike paper tape, because it's kind of hidden underneath. Here you can see I'm taking a level. I'm just trying to get an idea for the ceiling, because it was a plaster ceiling, slightly older house. I just want to see what I'm kind of working with and where I maybe need to put a little bit more mud. Because yes, I have this patch, but the big thing with patches, often the big complaints that people have with patches, is that they don't blend into the existing wall or ceiling that was already there. So I just wanted to see what I was kind of working with. So I'm taking my 20-minute. The more you work with this faster drying mud, the smoother it gets. So when you first put it on, it looks a little bit rough, but if you keep just running it over, keep stirring it up and mixing it up in your pan, it's going to get really smooth. So I've already put my 20-minute on, and so now what I'm doing is I'm cleaning my my mixing blade because I already had to sacrifice one mixing blade a while back because I decided just to let my blade had a bunch of 45-minute drying mud on it. I just let it I was letting it hang out in my water bucket, and after about an hour or so after I got done doing some mudding, I went to go clean it and I couldn't get anything off. So here what I'm doing is I turned off my main work light, and now I'm just using my flashlight because I want to see how my first coat looks like, and I want to see if there's any spots that I need to hit pad or hit a little bit harder with my top coat of mud. And I'm just kind of seeing if there's any spots that I missed or just how everything is looking. You can see there were some ridges, and what I'm going to do is end up using my 4-inch knife to scrape that off to give myself a nice smooth surface. And again, because this mud dries in 20 minutes, it's all nice and hard, and you don't have to worry about ripping up any of your mud. I do have a work fan that I take with me. It just helps it dry a little bit faster, so that way I can keep the ball rolling. So next I have my normal mud, and I'm just throwing it all on the ceiling, just making sure I'm covering any hole or any spot that I'm missing, and then I'm going to start smoothing it out. And this one I'm spreading out even further. That is the big thing whenever you're doing patch repairs, is you want to make sure you go as wide as you can, because if you don't go big enough, you'll be able to see where this patch was done and it'll be really humped. Doing it this way really helps blend it in. So as you can see, I got my mud on the whole entire ceiling. Now I'm just trying to smooth it out as best as I can, because it'll make my sanding, when it comes to sanding, a lot easier. And that is one thing, and I might have said this before in a video, yes, everything can sand out, but do you really want to spend that much time sanding? I know the answer for me is certainly not, so I'm trying to get it as smooth as possible. So just showing you there what it kind of looks like. It's hard to see because the ceiling's painted white, and obviously mud is white as well, but just kind of showing you the finished product. There's the condition of the bathroom after I got done with the first day. So I went through, cleaned everything up, sweeping everything. I do have a shop vac, and I actually have some rags that I bought as well, so that way I can wet them down and wipe down the floor and make it look like maybe no one was even there doing some work. I ended up letting this job just dry over one night because it was a small enough job. I left the door open, and I had a fan going on it for the whole entire night, so that way I could guarantee it was going to be nice and dry. So just showing you the dried product. You can see some of those ridges. That was when I was putting my top coat of mud on, and thankfully those will sand out just fine. So I have my flashlight. I do have my work light. What I'd like to do with sanding, which I think really anyone would do, especially people that do this for a living, is you always start with pole sanding, and then you go through and hand sand. What I like to do personally is I like to hand sand with a flashlight in my hand. It really helps me get a good, intense look at how the drywall is looking, and if there's any spots that I need to hit. And then what I eventually go do is I'll go through with my hand and feel it out, kind of get that second test, because I just want to make sure it all turns out, and I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So again, just going through, I'm cleaning up some of the angles. That's what sponges are good for, and just hitting some of the edges or any other spots. Now I'm just kind of getting a feel for seeing how smooth it is. And then what eventually I went to go do, and I didn't show in the video, is I went and hit some stuff just with some mud for one final touch, and it was good to go. I went through, wiped the floor, vacuumed everything that I could, even on the mirrors, sink, to get it all clean, and there is the finished product. So if you live in the local area, that being the Genesee County area, don't hesitate to reach out in any way, shape, or form. I'd be more than happy to come do a small patch repair for you, or even a bigger job. You can check out some of my other videos to see some of the work I've done, or even on my Facebook page, where I occasionally post pictures of other jobs that I do as well. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. I would appreciate a comment if you want, or even a like on this video as well, or a follow on Facebook. And I guess with that, whatever time of the day that you're watching this, whether it be the morning, evening, or night, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks.